Today I am on a mission. I've just been craving something else other than meat. Meat every day, or greens every day with tallow. It's just been starting to be a little bit too monotonous, and whilst I know I can survive like this since I did it last time, I feel like I need to branch out a little bit. And you know what I'm actually craving the most is in fact the little juicy grubs, which I haven't had much luck in tracking down a good supply of yet. I'd really love to try and find something like that. But I was walking around the woods today and I was having a look at something that I've pondered over for a while, and I'm surprised I haven't tried it before. But I had a small reminder when I saw Foraged by Fern. She did a little video out in the woods, and one of the things that she actually harvested was this particular plant as a survival food. And so we're going to go down into the woods and we're going to have a little look for it, because it is a very abundant plant. And the big thing about trying to harvest certain things is how abundant they are, how easy they are to gather, because what I'm actually after today is the roots, the carbohydrates. And the main problem that we find is that it's not very easy to harvest certain carbs. It's not that easy to dig up roots, but this particular plant, it's very easy to get into the ground and very easy to get the roots and hopefully process them. Now the plant in question is something called lesser celandine, and it's very easy to identify, especially by these leaves and these distinctive flowers that look a little bit like buttercups. And that is because they are in the buttercup family. Now there is a small word of warning, is that a lot of buttercups, well, most of the buttercup family is indeed poisonous, and this particular plant, lesser celandine, does have small amounts of toxicity, but you can easily boil it out of the plant. It's one of the only members of the buttercup family, other than marsh marigolds, that I would possibly consider eating. Now the part that we really want is when you dig up. This is what I'm looking for today. So you see these, they're very tiny. Very tiny. Don't even know if they're in focus. But there's little tiny nodules on the roots. But they're very shallow rooting, so they're not actually that hard to process and take out the ground. So and there's so much here, I'm hoping that I can try and gather enough of them to make at least one meal for the carbohydrates. So we'll see what we can do. So here is an interesting fact about lesser celandine. You see these little bits on the roots. This was also known as something called pilewort, because it resembled piles, and apparently in the past they used to use this to cure that ailment. So it's quite funny, some plants are actually named after certain ailments that they can be cured, that can heal them, certain body parts, things like that, other common names that we've kind of lost now. But yeah, same with ground elder, for example. Ground elder is also called goutweed because it was said to be able to be used to cure gout. So it's rather interesting. But yeah, so I'm going to carry on harvesting these and getting them into this bowl. Wow, so I just noticed something while I was picking the plant and uprooting it, and I just realised that it actually has, I don't know if it's focused, but there are very, very tiny nodules that are the same as under the ground, just coming up at the base of the plants, so you don't actually have to dig them out. Never noticed that before. The little things that you notice when you start paying closer attention, they're everywhere. Almost reminds me of like potatoes or something. Yeah, so this is a much more efficient way to harvest them, because you don't have to uproot. You just break them off from. You find the nice big ones, like in there. You see that, just in there, and then you just break. You just break them off, like that. So cool, so cool. It's actually quite comfy and cozy doing this, and just going through. This is a much better process. This is what I find quite amazing, is once you start becoming familiar with another plant, you learn to harvest it in more efficient ways. And I've never been a big fan of uprooting things, so this is a much better process to me, because I'm not killing the underground part, and it will keep growing. And it is quite amazing, these little seeds, or whatever they are, the little root nodules that will probably spread out and create more plants. But it's really soothing, just laying down here and being out in nature. I wonder if this is what our hunter-gatherer ancestors would have been like. They would have had a nice big meal, calorie-rich meal, and then they'd just relax. And as they relax and spend time with each other, they would be harvesting without much energy or effort. Just little things like this that would contribute to the next meal. And when you have a big group of people doing it, it doesn't really take that long. One thing that I am missing on this wild food diet again, I want another meetup. I want another gathering. I want to meet more people who are on it, because that's kind of like partly one of the reasons I did it again, because I already know that I can survive off of wild food. The other reason is that things like this, with the lesser celandine, I already developed some deep connections with plants during the last wild biome, but I've started developing connections with other plants that I haven't considered to use in this way before. Now, it's taken a little bit of a while to gather. I've only got this much so far, so it's a painstaking process. Imagine picking every grain of rice individually that you want to eat. And that is what this feels like. But it's lovely, it's so relaxing. And when I was just laying here doing this, I saw a muntjac just walking up over there, so a part of me was like, I want to go stalk that muntjac now, but it's it's really lovely just being out here, going through the lesser celandine. I probably won't gather too much today, because I want to see how it tastes and how edible it will be, but I want to gather a substantial amount so that I can do something with it properly and see how it translates to in a small meal. But I probably will just do something simple with it. I was thinking maybe boil it quickly to kind of neutralise some of the toxins, if there are any in these parts. I nibbled one earlier and they didn't seem too bitter. And then I'll probably maybe pan fry it a little bit. We'll see. The idea I have in mind is to just boil it, pan fry it, and see how it tastes like that. And these ones here, they're growing. They're small at the moment, so I feel like in another week or two they might be a bit bigger and worth harvesting again, because they're only small right now, and it does look like they will grow bigger. Some of them have been larger. Now, they did also say that lesser celandine was a famine food. I'm sure I read that somewhere. And it makes total sense now, because you have this carbohydrate rich little seed pod, not seed pod, little, you have this carbohydrate rich little nodules that come out from the roots, and I can see how that would have been a famine food. It takes a while to gather, but it's a lot easier to dig up than a lot of other roots. Now, I have considered trying to go for I have considered to try and go for burdock roots around here, but the main problem that I find is that it's growing in clay soil, so trying to dig into the clay soil to get the root is not an easy job. So I haven't done that yet. I could maybe have a go at thistle roots again, like I did last time. They're a bit of work, but thistle roots would definitely be a possibility. I roasted those and crisped them up in the oven, and they're absolutely delicious. We're slowly getting there. I've only got a handful of seeds. I might try a little bit more, and then we'll head up and see what we can do with them. Now, yeah, I think I'm doing okay though. I'm doing okay, I feel okay. The only thing that I've been feeling is that I need something else than meat and nettles and wild garlic. I don't dislike it. If I make a burger out of the venison, it's absolutely delicious. And I've also got some fish in the freezer too, from down the south coast, from a fishmonger down there. So I have got supplies. If I had more pemmican, I'd quite happily live on pemmican. That is delicious. I don't get tired of that. That's another thing. Yeah, I could eat pemmican the whole time, but that's not sustainable. And so it's just a case of diversifying, because our hunter-gatherers would have not just stayed on a few simple foods. I feel like the big link that we're really missing is definitely the insects, because that would have been an easy source of fats and protein if you went for the larvae. So that's just something that I need to figure out, is what is the easiest way to gather that, what is the easiest way to find it, because that would be a really good source of fats and protein that doesn't take much time to gather. It takes less effort to gather once you know where and how to do it. So I am kind of craving that. That is the missing link that I feel. Even on the last diet, I felt like that was the missing link, was the easy to gather grubs, because that would be a nice calorie source between hunts. And then you have all your greens, you have all your abundant greens around here. But this morning I had some broth. I made a big batch of broth up yesterday with venison bones, the pheasant carcass, the pigeon carcass. I've had 4 pigeons. I've shot 4 pigeons, and I'm already tired of eating pigeons. The funny part is, the bit that I really crave on the pigeon is not the breast meat. It's the skin, the fatty skin. I really want that part. So that's really nice in the broth once it's all broken up into the liquid. And that's got a bit of seaweed in it. And today I had some with some saffron milk caps and a bit of wild garlic. So that was nice. Oh, we did put a few dandelion heads in there as well, the dandelion flower heads. Yeah, I just want to kind of try and diversify out a little bit. And I think a big part that I'm struggling with motivation to do too much is because I have to make sure I have my essentials in the day. But also, I keep going back to this, I also miss having a constant community for this, because everyone would be going out doing a task, someone would be back maybe doing the cooking, preparing the things that we gather, and it all comes together and we end up eating so well and so diversified. So it's I am kind of craving that, and also the connection, wild food, nature connection is a big part. And I mean, even just sitting out here is lovely. I can just disappear into nature, listen to the sounds, listen to the things around me, and carry on harvesting. And that is very, very, very meditative. It's very, very peaceful, and I'm happiest when I'm doing stuff like this. I spend too much time indoors during winter because it's too cold and there's not really much to gather. So when the spring comes and the summer comes, it's really nice to be out here during the day in the sunshine, which is very much needed because vitamin D that's the only source of vitamin D without taking supplements, and we can't take supplements during the wild biome. So I've got a really nice, beautiful source of sunlight right now as I just relax and carry on pickings. But yeah, at least I know that I can survive in most situations. It gives you that kind of confidence, it gives you that assurance that, especially with the way the world is at the moment, if you really had to survive off the land, it is doable. It takes a bit of work, but it is doable. Okay, so this is the finished thing. All I've done is boiled them for a little bit, and when they boiled and they were really nice and soft and tender, and they were a little bit like literally mini potatoes. The tuber is full of carbs. That's really good. So what I did afterwards was I poured the water out, and I put a tiny bit of venison tallow, tiny pinch of salt, and I crisped them up in the pan. Wow. Wow. These really are like little potato chips. Seriously, like potato chips. Tiny little things though. Now I hope that some of these tubers will grow a little bit larger in the coming weeks, because that is actually really, really delicious. They're just really small at the moment. But I think the best ones were the actual roots that I dug up. The larger ones were, let me see if I can get one. The larger ones were something like this kind of size. So that's really good. That's a really good size. And so yeah, maybe digging them up is the best option. But maybe those little nodules will grow bigger over the next couple of weeks, and if, fingers crossed, that they do, then I won't have to dig them up. I can just harvest them. This combination is actually very, very delicious. It's not bitter. No. Slight carroty hint there. But wow, I got my little tub of carbs for today, so I'm going to sit down. I'm going to enjoy that. And just another small video. There's not really a lot else going on apart from the usual routines, the usual same processes. So I don't want to kind of try and repeat that over and over. So I just thought I'd take little videos when we have little cool things going on like this. And if we have another meetup, I'll record that. And yeah, I'll keep you updated with the more unique things that I've been thinking about during the diet. But I'm going to go. I've got my tea ready. I've got some blackberry, some ground ivy, some watermint tea, and I'm going to get that into a bottle, cool it down, and keep that for later. And in a short while, I'll make my venison burgers again. I've got a lot of venison to get through, so I can make way in the freezer for more stuff for making pemmican, because I've used up most of the pemmican meat. The rest of it's fatty and skirts from the ribs and things like that, so it's only for mincing. So I'm going to start trying to use up some of the stuff in the fridge and make room so I can get some more venison in and make some more pemmican. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm relaxing, and as I said earlier, I really do want more of the community action, so we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. But for now, I'm actually quite chuffed with the little experiments that I'm doing whenever I get a chance to. So yeah, so for now, bye, and don't forget to like, subscribe and follow if you'd like to stay in touch with anything else that I'm going to be doing.